These predictions for 2023 are not good, and she predicted 9/11, so oh dear. Baba Vanga, she predicted Chernobyl disaster, she predicted Stalin's death, she predicted 9/11, amongst lots of other things, and she has some pretty bad predictions for 2023 in store for us. So let's hope that she got these wrong. She hasn't got everything right, which is important to say, and we will get onto what she got wrong later on in the video. But anyway, who is this lady? Well, she was born in 1911. Her real name is Vanga Dimitrova, and she lived with her family in what would become North Macedonia. She came from a very poor upbringing. Her mother tragically died when she was very young. Her life would take a drastic turn at the age of 12 when, in a dust storm, she was apparently picked up by a tornado and dumped, like, elsewhere, further, thrown out of this tornado. And it did a lot of damage to her eyes, to a point where she couldn't open them without feeling incredible amounts of pain. Now, in the aftermath of this tornado, friends and family tried to find her. It didn't happen straight away. It took a number of days, and once she was finally found, her eyes were, well, by all accounts that I've read, sealed shut by dust and dirt, meaning that from the age of 12, she was blinded forever. However, she claims that in this moment, she experienced a gift from God, allowing her to see the future, which allowed her to make predictions over the course of her lifetime, some that have come very eerily true. She called her paranormal abilities invisible creatures, which allowed her to see into a different plane of existence, allowing her to see the future, but also apparently allowing her to heal people. So, there we go. But to cut a long story short, because we're here for the 2023 predictions, let's face it, she became very famous for her predictions, and over time predicted many different things. Okay, so, what has she predicted that came true? In 1989, she spoke the words, "Horror, horror. The American brethren will fall after being attacked by the steel birds. The wolves will be howling in a bush, and innocent blood will be gushing." Now, there are no specific dates as far as I can see given. She didn't say on September the 11th, 2001. Nothing like that. But the American brethren, brothers, twins, twin towers, steel birds, obviously planes, wolves howling in a bush. Could that be in reference to President George Bush? Who knows? And innocent blood will be gushing. Obviously, it was an absolutely tragic event that cost the lives of many, many people. So that is her prediction for 9/11. And so that is why I feel like, is this a lady who can predict the future? Or is this people trying to fit rectangle shapes into square holes, into circle holes, Are they trying to, change the narrative? Because it's not specific. She didn't specifically say 9/11, two planes into two buildings. But you can kind of almost see it as like is it a euphemism? Not a euphemism, is it an allegory? Like a metaphor? I don't know, one of those, to see it as 9/11. So you have to, there needs to be wiggle room. You have to do a bit of work. And if you need to do a bit of work, is it really an accurate prediction? Do you see my issue here? Let me know what you think. Now, it's important to note that this lady died in 1996 at the age of 75, and obviously all the predictions still to come are just things that have been written down that she apparently said during her lifetime. But when she was alive, another thing that she predicted was climate change, and this is in 1950, right? And basically, well, I'll give you the exact quote. She said, "Cold regions will become warm, and volcanoes will awaken. A huge wave will cover a big coast covered with people and towns, and everything will disappear beneath the water. Everything will melt just like ice." So she's referring to tsunamis, she's referring to volcanoes, she's referring to ice melting because of, the weather heating up and stuff, global warming. And I mean, in the 50s, was that even, I don't have the historical knowledge to know, in the 50s, was there any talk of climate change, or was she just out of nowhere talking about the ice caps melting and people were just like, what the fuck are you on about? Because if that was the case, then yeah, okay, fair enough, maybe she might have a little bit of prediction powers here. But if there was talk of it at the time, then is it that far out to be cold regions will become warm, volcanoes will erupt in the future. I mean, they're going to erupt. I could make that prediction. There's going to be a volcano erupt in the future, because there just will be. It's almost inevitable. Are these predictions, or are they just kind of safe guesses? But anyway, that's enough of what she's predicted in the past. Let's go for what she's predicting in 2023. So, the Earth's orbit will apparently change. It changes anyway, but like so small that you would never even realise. But over the course of thousands of years, then, you know, you kind of see it, the bigger picture. Apparently we're in for quite a shift, which could cause, well, I mean, the Ice Age, basically. She also predicted a solar tsunami is apparently on its way, which is awesome, which is basically like big solar flares coming away from the sun. There's been predictions for these many, many times by, you know, actual scientists and stuff that are kind of like monitoring the sun's action, I guess. But they've never hit us because, well, they would wipe out all of our electricity, all of our technology would be kind of fucked, and it could potentially throw us into an apocalypse. So let's hope that, like many before her, scientists and all, that she's wrong about this solar tsunami apparently coming in 2023. Now, this one is probably the scariest, right? And it goes against, like, there's literally the Biological Weapons Convention in place to stop this. There is going to be a biological weapon used by a big country, she says, in 2023. Now, this isn't good. And, I mean, obviously we have the war in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine. Would Russia do this? Who knows? That's kind of like up to debate, I guess. Final days of war, you get desperate, you never know, you use unconventional methods. Would it be a new strain of COVID? Would it be, I don't know, like, you know, some sort of mustard, you know, like there's all sorts of, the reason that the Biological Weapons Convention is in place is because the use of such things is you know, so awful and just so immoral. I know war is awful and war is immoral, but the biological weapons really take the piss when it comes to that kind of thing. So apparently in 2023 biological weapons will be used, and I kind of feel like, to be honest, say for example if Russia used biological weapons on Ukraine, I think that's game over then. I think that is well and truly World War III, and everyone would get involved, because otherwise it's almost saying, well, you know, they've used them, but we're not going to get involved. We're not going to put our foot down. We're not going to back the Biological Weapons Convention. And then it just kind of opens the floodgates to everyone else doing it, because there's no consequence to the action of using biological weapons. So yeah, Baba Vanga, big countries, biological weapons 2023. Let's hope she's wrong. Now, to couple up with this, and I can see this being 100% more likely than the previous, a nuclear explosion. Now, obviously, there is a lot of nuclear power plants in Russia and in Ukraine and across the world. But there are, you know, Russia are shelling Ukraine, and there are nuclear power plants. And so if one of these get hit, that would be very bad. Not only that, Putin is literally threatening nuclear war basically every day. So, you know, the thought of one of those being launched isn't exactly out of the realms of possibility. But I just think that once you launch a nuke, then it's just game over, isn't it? Everyone hits the red button, everyone dies. Yeah, scary. And apparently 2023 is when it's going to happen. This one's a bit weird. So no more pregnancies is on the cards, apparently. Apparently, there's going to be no more natural births. It's all going to be done in labs, so we can literally choose what traits we want our children to have. This is far too out of the blue to even be entertained, I feel. I can't just see going from 0 to 100, boom, no more natural births. Apparently, natural pregnancies are going to be banned. Now, as I was saying, like, I don't think that last one is going to happen, okay? And like I said, she has been wrong before. She predicted that Europe would be destroyed in 2016. I mean, there was the Brexit vote, so maybe she was a bit foggy and just didn't quite see all of the ins and outs. So maybe, like, again, I'm twisting the narrative to fit with what she's said, and I feel like that's what goes on here. But she also predicted a World Cup final with 2 Bs in it. One was Brazil. I think it was 1994 World Cup final. One did have Brazil, but it was also Italy, and I think she was just kind of gunning for Bulgaria to be in the World Cup final, or maybe Belgium. She she also predicted a nuclear war in 2010, which never happened. So the nuclear war that she's predicting for 2023, hopefully, will also never happen. I think a lot of these things, personally, I think are just down to coincidence, are down to shifting the narrative, you know, changing the sentences, changing the context a little bit. I feel like you've got a square hole, you've got a circular peg, and you've got a hammer, and you've just smashed the circular peg through the square hole so it went in. You know, that's just my opinion. I'd love to know yours. Do let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to my patron of the day. Today's patron of the day is AKA. Thank you so much for being a patron. I really do appreciate you. If you'd like to become a patron, we have a great time over there. You have a video of the week. I also do an exclusive Patreon podcast over there where I talk all things paranormal, true crime, answer questions. It's just awesome. It's building a lovely community over there. So if that sounds like something that you would like to do, you can have it all for just £1 a month. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Sweet one. Geese.